Well, this is my first CPAC, so I'm enjoying it immensely, meeting a lot of great people. I usually don't dive in and start preaching, but I'll give it a shot here. I've been in Washington actually most of the month of February. I was on Capitol Hill doing some reporting for PJTV, asking a lot of senators questions, asking them why they're going to vote for the stimulus bill, what they think it's going to do for us. Never once did I hear anybody say, "Oh, why don't we cut something?" I thought it was a pretty common sense thing. I mean, I know when I don't make enough money, I usually cut things like cable, or I don't go out Friday night, or I don't buy a new flannel shirt. I don't know. You take your pick. But you live within your means. The federal government doesn't seem they have to do that. They ask the American people to tighten their belts, yet they don't lead by example. When I was in the military, the most people I respected were my officers that actually led by example. The one that would get down there in the trench with me, would run with me, would do what they needed to do, as opposed to sit behind a desk and sit there, "Well, you need to go do that." Well, that's not much leadership, and unfortunately, I don't see a lot of that in Washington. Amongst the Republicans, and I have no problem bashing Republicans as well as Democrats. We talk a lot. Recently, we gotten the grassroots movement going. It seems to actually starting to take effect a little bit. This Tea Party that I'm actually going to go to it tomorrow. I'm real happy to see that. That shows actions, and that's what we need in the Republican Party or the conservative movement, whichever one you want to call it. When I started my website, I knew I wasn't going to be able to give it the attention it deserved with the members. Ultimately, what I wanted to do is bring the websites together. There's so many splinter groups, if you will, would have 1,500 members, 500 members. It's not much of a voice. So if we bring them together, because ultimately, we're conservatives, we might have some differences of opinions, but we have the same goal, hopefully. And so if we can get all these websites, my site, American Coast to Coast, maybe your site, I have no ego when it comes to that. I'd gladly let someone else run it. I want to give us a bigger voice. That way, because the whole time I've been in Washington, all I've heard are special interests, special interests, special interests. That's not the American people. And so we need a bigger voice so we can stump these special interests. We want to hold people responsible for what they've done. What is wrong with that? You got to always know, human nature is to try to get by, take the easy way. Not a lot of people want to actually work. And so we're going to get a bad rep. I mean, you can't sell it any way else. I don't care how you package it. I've been in a couple meetings. They say, "Well, we got to package it different." Well, you can't package it any different. It is what it is. What is right and what is wrong. And it's damn hard doing what's right. I've turned down a bunch of money come my way because of this whole Joe the Plumber thing. And don't get me wrong, I could use some of that money. I mean, we all could use some more money, but some of the things that came at me weren't something that I felt comfortable with. I had to turn it down. But it wasn't easy. And so doing what's right is hard. And that's how we have to sell it. American pride used to be something, used to mean something. Now it's a byline, a soundbite. It doesn't mean anything anymore, sincerely. So I don't know. I don't have the answer for you, but we got to stop apologizing for it. You got to stay, if you're going to say you're conservative, be it. But at the same time, media wants to harass us if you do something wrong. Some of our guys get caught with their hands in a cookie jar. They have an adulterous affair, and right away, Democrats or liberals are sitting there. See that? He's not good. He's a terrible person. We try to do good. We all fail. But at least we're trying. They don't even have the. They don't even say they're trying. They're just, just accept it. Hey, I like women. I'm going to go out and, I don't care that I'm married. They don't, we're not supposed to judge them. So I just, they don't resign either, yeah. So there's been some great men, and I talk about that in my book that me and Thomas Tabak wrote together. It's called Joe the Plumber, Fighting for the American Dream, and it's downstairs, and I'll be signing them throughout the CPAC here. But Theodore Roosevelt's probably one of my favorites. He was a man's man. He said what he thought. He did what he said. He wasn't afraid to learn. His whole life was just incredible, and I love him to death, and pretty awesome. And then a cliche, if you will, George Washington. He's already he pretty much had ESP or however else you want to call it. He knew that we were going to come to this point. He said, "Don't have politicians. We have politicians. Politicians are going to ruin the country." Look where we're at. I mean, we're about as ruined, well, I'm not going to say we're as ruined as we've ever been. I mean, obviously we had the Civil War and some other big things in our history as a country, but there is so much hate out there just based on politics alone. You know, people don't understand how I can be friends with my neighbors across the street who are Democrats. I love them to death. We actually want the same thing. It's just, you know, a couple, I mean, we want to be successful. We want to own homes. We want our kids to grow up and be able to do things and have education. I mean, we all want the same things, essentially. Just, we got different ideas on how to get there. We need to actually get out there and do. Right now, the Democrats have done. They're in the White House. You know, regardless of how they've gotten there, if you think it's fair or not, they've gotten out there and they've done. That's what we need to do. We do a lot of talking. You know, like I said, I've been here for the last 3 weeks, or 3 weeks of February. All the meetings I go to, they talk a good game. They get passionate. They get angry. Then they go back home. You know, that's not how it works. So, like I said, I don't want to preach to y'all, but that's my opinion. I've always been a man of action. When something needs to get done, I do it, period. And that's what I think the conservative movement needs.